What up, YouTube? So I want to speak on the Activision Blizzard controversy that recently came out, but tie it into the overall picture of abuse from a lot of these major corporations, man, because I think that sometimes we get so focused in on like the specific subject of some of these controversies that we kind of get like lost in the sauce almost, right, of like the realization of how widespread of an issue just systemic abuses in a lot of these corporations. um so for the Blizzard Activision thing, right? They've been getting investigated for like a couple years now, if not more, for just toxic workplace environment, kind of like Riot was, right? Where there's a whole lot of sexual harassment towards women, people of color, and anybody that's just kind of not in the higher up like a leadership, CEO, managerial role, or part of like the boys club thing. Anybody that's not a part of that, and the people part of like marginalized groups and just people that they find attractive, right? They go out of their way to basically do whatever they want to them, is what the accusations are saying. But at this point, they're more than accusations, right? Like, let's be real. People are like have shown receipts, like we got screenshots, literal pictures of the freaking Bill Cosby suite. The Bill Cosby suite, bro, like that blows my mind like so much. It's such a weird ass thing, like sexual misconduct and just this abuse and all this other sort of stuff is already just like effed, right? But for them to have like a literal like room with like a portrait of Bill Cosby that they're like all like hanging around and just like taking photos with and just like acting like it's hilarious and not just like the weirdest shit ever is I can't wrap my head around it. And like, why would you like, and from the perspective of a criminal, right? Like, if I'm a criminal doing these activities and like taking advantage of and hurting people, why the hell would I ever take a photo like that? Like, it's dumb as hell on so many levels, right? Like, not only is it just inherently screwed up because what they're doing is so obviously and clearly wrong, like sexual harassment, sexual abuse, toxic workplace environment, bullying people, delegating work because you don't feel like doing it, and overall just abusing the power that you have as a person in leadership. Like, we know on a fundamental level, like, that's already screwed up stuff to do, right? But to then like take it to like that level of having these just like weird ass group chats and just like these photos of you just posing in front of a portrait of Bill Cosby, bro, like I don't even like like what do you even say to that? Like, what do you even, like, to me that just really exposes how free from consequence they've been. Like, for them to be able to like do stuff like that and with a smile on their face and just like cracking up shows me that they've never been in trouble. Like that they've been getting away with doing some just effed up stuff for a long time, dude. So like, for you to do that kind of stuff, like, you really have to give no F's. And clearly they didn't, because they must not have got in trouble before. They never got consequences, right? We talk about psychology on this channel, right? Like, if you want to, a behavior goes through extinction when there's been like consequences and punishment for the things that you're doing. People learn through either rewards or punishment that, hey, this is something that I should or shouldn't be doing. Even though, like, after a while, man, you hope there's like a higher level of just like thought and maturity where people don't have to go through external consequences to change their behavior. But that's a whole nother story. But like, them taking these pictures, having these screenshots, and just these things have been going on for so long that these people really thought that they built up some kind of immunity to like not being taken down, and they low-key had. A lot of these guys has been doing this sort of garbage for a extremely long time. And this is kind of what I want to get into, right? Is that the Activision Blizzard stuff is just an example of a much, much, much wider overall problem of corporations, leaders in these multi-billion-dollar industries, or even just people, not even people necessarily in like a humongous industry, but those in positions of leadership that have never been held accountable, never had to be accountable for the messed up stuff that they do. And I can say this because I've been in workspaces where like things have been said to me that like just, you shouldn't have a job anymore type of deal, you know? And like I've talked to like so many other people and have had experiences where like I've been around, I've directly seen or have been acted upon in a way where I'm like, this person shouldn't have a job anymore, you know? And I think that it can be difficult for like some people on the outside to realize like how widespread this issue is, you know. Not gonna sit here like, I'm not saying that every content creator has their life given to them on like a silver platter, that they didn't have to work for their platform and stuff like that, right? But we do have some like influencers, content creators and stuff like that that either are so young when they built up their platform that they haven't had like the quote unquote like real world experience of going into some of these workplaces and jobs and seeing how it is, or some of these people have been out of the game so long that they may not necessarily know what workplace culture is like in most other places. But I can tell you, man, like this is how it is in a lot of places. This whole Activision Blizzard thing is just indicative of a wider cultural or systemic issue with people in power not being held accountable and abusing that power because they've never had any consequences for it, you know? Like I think of my wife even, who used to work at a residential facility, and if you guys know anything about like corrections or working in residential, you guys know just how effed up some of those spaces can be. And like they literally at her space, right, like they had like a literal boys club where it was like these 4 or 5 managers who went out together, like they drank together, they talked about like the women, like the attractive women on the job and like how hot women were, like in front of my wife and other people, like talking about, oh man, I have the weird crusties going on. They would talk, like get in front of my wife and other women and just right out in the open talk about like how hot some women were, like, and just like it was such a weirdly toxic culture that was never like, there was never consequences for it, and it just persists, you know, because these guys never get in trouble because the people at the top, the people that should be holding them accountable, are also doing these same things, so these people never get in trouble for it. You know, like it's just something that happens in so many places. Residential facilities, the video game industry, mental health clinics, like factories, like no matter where you go, man, like this whole Activision Blizzard controversy is it's just a microcosm, you know. And I just think that it's important to recognize just how big of an issue this is, and the fact that I think in order for this to get fixed, it literally is going to require systemic change on a insane level, like to the point that like I don't even know what to do, you know. Like I think that one thing that's cool is that like people from like my generation and younger and stuff, like we're starting to get to the point where we're older and we're moving into like supervisory and managerial roles. And I think a lot of people from my generation have a better outlook on some of this stuff and are more like quote unquote woke when it comes to certain social issues. So I think like as we see different types of people take these leadership positions, I'm definitely hoping for some sort of change. But a big thing too is I think that what has to happen is that people in these leadership positions that do the sort of crap that they do, right, that promote the sort of abuse that they do, there has to be some sort of accountability, you know. Like they got to get hit in their reputation, their pocket, like it's got to affect their life somehow, you know. Like not like their game, like people not buying their games not getting reviewed, their games not getting any sort of publicity, these people that are working in these like these factories and these other higher up positions being held accountable by like HR and other people that should be keeping an eye on this and making sure that like this doesn't persist, you know. Because some people like would blow the whistle on this stuff and have been trying to show this crap for years and nothing happens, and then people die. You know, people lose their life from this sort of stuff, man. Like, it's not a joke, dude, where the longer this kind of crap goes on, like, people just become like crestfallen, right? Like, you just like, you lose hope, or just like, you just feel so powerless and everything, man. And it's just, it can truly affect not only just like the workplace culture, but like people's literal lives can be at stake from this kind of thing, you know. And like, I'm not gonna like keep going, because I'm not trying to get like overly dramatic, or have you guys feel like I'm getting overly dramatic, but I just wanted to speak on the fact that like this goes bigger than like Activision or Blizzard, you know. Like, this is a widespread ass leadership culture problem that goes on in nearly every industry that I've ever seen, man. And it's time for accountability. You know, it's time. We're way overdue for it. So let me know what you guys think, man. Tell me if you guys have ever had any toxic workplace experiences, or just like dealt with some crap on the job that could have been blown up, or like could have immediately got somebody fired, but it didn't for some reason. I want to hear your guys' stories too, because I know I got some, man. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you guys soon.